Welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we have on the phone line with us now Mr. Anil Roberts, Member of Parliament, Mr. Anil Roberts, and he wants to speak to us about the opening ceremony of the Arthur Napoleon Raymond Robinson International Airport that took place on Saturday, last Saturday. Good morning, Mr. Roberts, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much, and good morning to the beautiful island of Tobago. How are you?
I'm quite fine. I'm seeing that you're looking very comfortable in your kitchen there.
For now, as soon as I finish here, it's peace. As you know, the election has been called, so we have to work hard. We have to spread the message and say what we will do when we win across in Trinidad and throughout Tobago to remove the evil PNM, because we cannot continue like this. You called me, they called me. Now you must understand, I try my best to stay out of Tobago business. Now, I must state I am half Tobagonian. My father is Al Roberts, Tobagonian. My grandfather is Luther Roberts, Principal Roberts, Tobagonian. My grandmother is Tobagonian. However, we believe in the United National Congress and Kamla Prasad Bisesa that Tobago requires autonomy and self-governance, that Tobagonians know what's best for Tobago. And when what best happens to Tobago, Trinidad will benefit, and the unitary state of Trinidad and Tobago will unite. You hear the PNM people saying about the UNC disrespects Tobago by not putting candidates. That is abject total nonsense. It is absolutely the opposite, because Trinidad should not form policy for Tobago. Tobagonians live, breathe, and know what they need in Tobago, how to enhance their culture, their revenue, their economy, and the Chief Secretary and the Tobago House of Assembly should have greater power. So when I saw the abject total disrespect that occurred on Tobago soil for a so-called airport terminal that is due to support and give opportunities for Tobagonians on Tobago soil, to give Tobagonians jobs, to bring people, to increase tourism. And I saw the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly be ignored and not put on a program to speak in the island and in which he is duly elected by the people of Tobago to represent them. That was tantamount to bullying. It was inappropriate. It was disrespectful. It showed that the PNM does not believe that Tobago is our equal partner, that Tobagonians should determine their own pathway, that they should be given greater power to make decisions to protect themselves on national security, the economy, and decisions that affect Tobagonians. To invite a chief secretary, to put him to sit down there with other secretaries and to talk down to him from a bully pulpit was disgraceful. It lacked deportment, it lacked courtesy, and these are tenets and factors that are huge in Tobago culture. Discipline, respect for elders, courtesy, all of these things were non-existent in that fake opening of a building which is not ready to receive passengers.
Okay, Mr. Roberts, we know all the things that happened, all the controversy that happened over the weekend, but there may have been some mitigating factors that may have led to whatever mix-up they may have had in the programming and the protocol. But we have a problem in Trinidad and Tobago, whereas when you have different parties in the THA, running the THA that is running the central government, we always have this clash and this conflict. We saw it under when Mr. London, the PNM, was in power in Tobago, and the People's Partnership was in power in Trinidad in the central government. We also had these clashes and arguments about protocol and disrespect, and it always raises
Absolutely not.
its
Name one
head.
time. Hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. When you're talking to Anil, you gotta come with facts. Name one time there was any issue with protocol regarding Prime Minister Kamla Prasad Bisesa and the Honorable Chief Secretary over London. Name one time.
No, what I'm talking about in terms of
No,
THA,
sir. You said
THA,
so.
Mr.
Please,
Roberts,
I want to treat you with love. I want to treat you with love and respect.
Yes,
You
yes,
made a
yes.
statement
I'm giving
You
you the
made a
example. I'm going to
statement.
give you the
Okay,
examples,
give
all
me the
right?
example.
I'm saying it may not necessarily be Kamala Prasad Bissessa, the Prime Minister herself, but there would have been instances where the Tobago House of Assembly, under the leadership of Mr. Orville London, would have complained about disrespect and breaches of protocol and so, particularly in their interactions with the Ministry of Tobago Development in the past. What I'm saying to
Okay,
you
so
now,
with all due respect,
what I'm
all
saying now,
hold on, sir. What,
Mr. Roberts, hold
sir,
on.
with all due respect,
Mr. Roberts, hold
hold on,
on.
sir. You are
I'm, I,
talking.
I want to
Hold
pose
on,
a question. I want to
please.
pose a question.
No, wait,
My
I will answer
question
your
to
question.
you, my
Let me
question to you,
let me answer the question, sir. Because with all due respect, my learned colleague, not comparing apples and apples. You are comparing apples with oranges. If there was a political dispute or disagreement between a ministry and the PNM in charge of Tobago, that's issues, that's discussion of policy. What we are discussing here is disrespect from the office of the Prime Minister to the Chief Secretary of Tobago. And I put it to you, my honorable colleague, that Kamla Persad Bissessa, as the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, never, ever disrespected the Honorable Orville London Chief Secretary. No function, no time, no protocol, no mistake. It was respected. He was given his position of priority, allowed to speak to his heart's content, and it never occurred. So you cannot compare a disagreement in policy between a Tobago, a Ministry of Tobago Development, with a Prime Minister and a PNM government coming to open an airport, a huge expense, overruns, and putting a chief secretary, inviting him, leaving him off the program. It's not a mistake. What sort of thing? If that's a mistake, then the whole PNM should resign and come out. You cannot disrespect the Tobago House of Assembly and the chief secretary like that. In the biggest opening and the biggest fanfare, going out to the world, there is no comparison, my honorable colleague.
okay, so Mr. Roberts, okay, you're saying there is no comparison. So are you making some sort of call to action for the people of Tobago to respond to the so-called disrespect by the central government?
Well, it's not so-called. You see, disrespect is a very simple thing. Look, I'm on your show. I'm treating you with respect. We could disagree. You can make a point. I can make a point. But I treat you with respect. Respect is not something that is up for subjectivity. It is disrespectful to come to Tobago to open an airport for Tobagonians, built for Tobagonians, to be run by Tobagonians, to employ Tobagonians, and leave the highest representative of Tobagonians to sit down and not be on a program. That is not so-called. That is disrespectful. That is dishonorable. That is a stain on every citizen of Tobago, done by a man who says he's Tobagonian, and then he uses a bully pulpit to discuss Tobago business as he's on his way out, to tell them and instruct them who to give Tobago's assets, Tobago land to. Let me move on to that point. For Keith Rowley to say that he spoke to Adam Stewart of Sandals, and that Farley Augustine and the Secretary of Tourism and so on must get to with Sandals and get to the table and negotiate, is abject, total nonsense. That's not how procurement works. That's not how you get the best deal for Tobago. If the Chief Secretary and the THA decide that there is land available in Tobago for investment, then they will decide where's the land, how much land, and request from international corporations a request for proposals. Let all the major corporations of the world who are involved in the hospitality industry bid, give proposals. The THA's evaluation committee would evaluate all proposals and choose what's best for Tobago. It is not incumbent upon an outgoing PNM Trinidad Prime Minister to instruct the Chief Secretary on what he must do because Rowley played golf with Adam Stewart. That is corrupt to the core, and that is not the process.
You spoke about Tobagonians being disrespected with the protocols of the opening ceremony. Some Tobagonians have absolutely no problem with the manner in which the outgoing Prime Minister would have dealt with the Chief Secretary, because they felt as if the Chief Secretary has been, throughout his tenure, being very disrespectful towards the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, and they sort of see it as evening off the scores.
Well, that's an interesting position. Let me tell you, if I'm in the studio there and you cuff me in my face, if I return a punch, am I wrong or am I defending myself? Keith Christopher Rowley, as a Prime Minister, waged war on Farley Augustine, Chief Secretary, and the party that won. From his first statement, he said to the people of Tobago, and he went on to persecute Tobagonians. Keith Rowley tried to steal an election by instructing the EBC, which is closely affiliated to the PNM, to change and gerrymander boundaries in Tobago to move from 12 districts into 15. So the disrespect came first. The first punch, the draw first blood, the disrespect came from Keith Rowley. So if the Chief Secretary defends himself, anyone who thinks that someone defending themselves is wrong is either warped or does not understand propriety and proper conduct. The Chief Secretary has won. Rowley's pain and tobacco that PNM lost has been dealt with in an immature manner. He has not come to the table to teach and to treat with the Chief Secretary with respect and honor. And anyone who thinks that disrespect is okay, some of them, and they need to go back and talk to their parents because they weren't taught very well. Disrespect must never be accepted. Tobago is too important. The autonomy bill, when you talk about autonomy of Tobago, when you look at the recent bid rounds for oil and gas, I was aghast to see that all the blocks happen to be in Tobago waters. I always couldn't understand why the PNM wants to keep Tobago under their thumb. Why they want to oppress Tobagonians. Why do I see Trinidadians or even Tobagonians, once they join the PNM, they go in the Senate and the Parliament and they talk about PNM policy over and above the moving forward of Tobago. I could never understand it. But recently, they showed after the Dragon gas deal, which Keith Rowley put all his eggs in one basket. After that flopped with the advent of Donald Trump winning USA president. When I saw that they're running for bid rounds now, my simple eyes could see that most of those blocks that are under out for bid to the international upstreamers are in Tobago waters. It belongs to Tobago. And then I understood why the PNM wants to oppress and suppress Tobago, because they don't want to give Tobago the fair shake. We believe that Tobago must have the fair shake. Tobago is an equal partner. And if Tobago have to take care of Trinidad, so be it, because we are a unitary state and we must operate in a climate of love, respect, and togetherness.
Okay, Mr. Roberts. How do we get past the politics of separate parties running the THA to the central government? How do we get past the politics of of those things and get to the real issues of governing properly, governing Tobago properly, governing Trinidad and Tobago properly, and each person respecting each other's boundaries?
Question. That's a fantastic question. You look like a young man. So you would have known that since 2001 to about 2023, Tobago was run by PNM, and most of that time, Trinidad was run by PNM. And Tobago did not get its just desserts. It did not get what it deserved. It did not reach autonomy. They didn't bring bills in. When Kamala Persad-Bissessar was Prime Minister and she brought a bill to begin the process of autonomy for Tobago, Keith Christopher Rowley came up as the leader of the opposition and rejected it out of hand, using some stale arguments that thwarted the bill because it needed a special majority. So the only thing, as you have put it, that has hampered Tobago's development, Tobago's autonomy, is the PNM. So the answer is simple. Vote out the PNM in Tobago, as has happened. So keep that status quo and then vote a prime minister in Trinidad who believes in the autonomy of Tobago, who respects the chief secretary of Tobago, whoever he or she may be, that respects the Tobago House of Assembly and respects Tobago's right to chart its own course, whether in oil and gas, in tourism, in education, in development, in safety and security. Kamala Prasad Bisesa believes in that, and it's very easy. A synergy can be made once there is respect. Keith Rowley and the PNM does not respect Tobago. It was shown recently, and it has been shown for the last 23 years.
So, Roberts, tell us, what will the UNC, if they get into power in central government, do differently to enable Tobago's autonomy? And you raise the issue of the oil and gas fields being auctioned off. And that has been a contentious issue in Tobago for a long time, that we don't get enough revenues from the oil and gas, and that we've been contributing to this nation's oil and gas wealth, and we don't get to see the returns on that. What will the UNC do differently to address those burning issues that Tobagonians have?
That's a brilliant question. Kamala Prasad Bisesa is different. She begins differently. She respects Tobago's autonomy. She will respect the electorate, and the voice of the people in Tobago is the voice of God. So therefore, suggestions and a lot of work has been done with Tobago Autonomy Bill. Now, the election, it depends on what sort of majority Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC gets, because we're going to have to change the constitution. It's going to need a special majority, and the PNM does not want Tobago to get autonomy. But the first thing is that Kamala Prasad Bisesa has been and will continue to listen and take advice from the Chief Secretary and the Tobago House of Assembly on what Tobago needs. She gives that full respect, and she will do whatever in her power in the Parliament of Trinidad to move Tobago's agenda forward. It will be a relationship of mutual respect, understanding, and based on science. Anyone can see, as David Lee, Member of Parliament, who is our Shadow Minister of Energy and so on, has stated, that all of those blocks that are now under bid, Tobago has claim for them. And if that is logical, if that is clear, if it is scientific, and if you could take a measuring tape and measure it, then it belongs to Tobago. So give Tobago what belongs to Tobago. It is very simple. Only an oppressor, only a dictator, only someone who seeks and covets control would oppress Tobago. And that's what Rowley and the PNM and Stuart Young have done and will continue to do. So dialogue, listening, moving forward, changing the laws, giving Tobago what it deserves.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Roberts, and it's so good to have you on this morning. And we thank you for calling in and having this chat with us. You know, you're always so passionate when you start to speak about the matters that affect Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, my brother, and it's good to see a young person deeply involved in the issues of Tobago and Trinidad. I just tell you, keep reading, keep getting facts, because you have an awesome responsibility. The people are listening to you. You can shape their minds and their perception. So when we have that, remember, I used to be on TV and radio, and I thought I had to get smarter and brighter, because when I open my mouth, I must speak from a position of fact. So you are doing a great job. God bless. And Tobago, we love you. Do what you have to do, but respect due.
Okay, Mr. Roberts, thank you. Have a good day. So
same to you. God bless.
Listeners, you heard it yourself from Mr. Roberts. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have conversations with Ms. Sharice Taylor, the founder of the association, De Francophile. So right after this break, we'll come back with that interview. Do us a favor in the meantime, share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.